It's the Trevor Kirczenow podcast with your Liberal candidate for Provencher, Trevor Kirczenow.
Hi, everybody.
So, it's a big day.
Yeah, it's a big day. Mark Carney is in Winnipeg today, and we were up early to go to the first event of the day. That was at New Flyer Industries. And yeah, it was super fun. It was really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And you had a different perspective because you went with the candidates and I went with the media crowd.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little fun to talk about the behind the scenes, like, you know, what was it like? The Liberal candidates were invited to join Mark Carney there. And so we arrived first, and then we were kind of chilling out, chatting for a while, waiting for him to come. And it's a very exciting thing to be part of, an exciting atmosphere.
Yeah, when they talk about media circus, that's definitely
oh my gosh, there's so much media there. Yes, so many cameras.
Right, and for me it was interesting to listen to him speak for such a long period of time, too, and just sort of get a sense of like, okay, he's really laying out a plan, as far as I can tell, right?
Right. But let's back up. I want to share what it was like just before that. They had the candidates waiting in a certain place, and we could watch some of what was going on in the facility during that time, which was also really interesting. I don't know how many of you have driven by that place and kind of wondered like what all goes on in there. So even that was really cool to get to see. And then we were waiting for Mark Carney to come, and then kind of more and more people start to show up. Like there's these people that come ahead of him that are looking after all kinds of things, and you start to realize like, oh, the Prime Minister, soon it's going to be him coming down that hallway.
Right.
Yeah. And we all got to shake his hand and say a quick hello, and there were some pictures. And then they said, okay, now the candidates are going to go out to the area where the media is, but Mark Carney is going to have a short downtime in a green room. So he went to his quiet space. And I that was interesting to me too, just like thinking about how incredibly busy and hectic this time would be for any leader on the campaign trail. And you think like, yeah, he probably needs 5 minutes of quiet, not in front of cameras, to just like collect himself, right?
Yeah, like really human kind of, these are the things. And they had a nice snack table too.
Yeah, so then the candidates went out there to where all the cameras were. And I'd been thinking about the media part of it for the last few days because Poilievre had a rally in Winnipeg a few days ago. And I from time to time, I'll have a look at Ted Falk's Facebook page. He's my opponent in Provencher, and I noticed on his Facebook page he'd posted a video of part of the rally, and I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but the first thing that caught my eye was, oh yeah, I can see Ted in the background there behind the speaker, and he was chewing gum. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's not a good look. And then my next immediate thought was, oh, Mark Carney he's going to come to Winnipeg at some point during this campaign, and I'll be in that position with so many cameras catching me in the background for like you said, like an hour.
Right.
And I really hope that I don't do anything silly during that time.
We were all made to wear our safety glasses, and everybody in the background had all these giant safety glasses on.
Over top of our regular glasses, right?
And I was kind of thinking, this could be a total Mr. Bean moment. Can you imagine, like, you're back there and you're like, with your glasses, and then they fall off, and you're like, excuse me, pardon me, behind the Prime Minister.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's that sort of thing that I was like, oh no.
You did great.
Everything looked okay?
Yeah, let's roll the clip.
Okay.
All right, let's hear what the substance of some of this stuff was that he was talking about. Here we go.
We will also, as a government, double down on what's working already. $10 a day childcare is working. 900,000 children across Canada are already being supported by this program. It's saving families here in Manitoba up to $2,800 per child per year. And on average across the country, up to around $10,000 per child per year. And this childcare program is good for the economy. For every dollar we spend on childcare, about $2.80 in economic value is created in return. In simple language, we are all better off if more parents can work if they wish to. That's the right thing to do. It's the economic.
Okay. So that was part of a larger clip where he was talking about some of the Liberal accomplishments like dental care and a number of things that have really helped families. So what was your impression about when he was laying out those accomplishments?
I think everything right now comes back to that he's an experienced economist and he understands the economy and how it works, and that's what we really need right now. Personally, when I think about the $10 a day daycare, I wonder if I would have made a different choice, because I used to work full time before our kids were born, and I actually resigned from my symphony job to be a stay-at-home parent for about 10 years, and part of that decision was definitely the cost of childcare. Mm-hmm. So I think it's amazing that this program exists now, and it's really upsetting that Poilievre has said he would cancel it if he's elected.
And does he give any kind of reason for that? I mean, it seems sort of like a very successful program that is really helping families, and it's helping our economy as well.
I feel like the Conservatives are always ultra focused on tax cuts, which are helpful if you are making money in the first place. To have to pay less taxes, that is nice, but it's not so helpful to somebody who has lost their job or somebody who doesn't make a lot of money and needs these programs to help them get ahead.
Mm-hmm. And then the other big news, of course, was with the carbon tax lifting. When Poilievre talks about it, he says, well, he could bring it back at any time, which seems like kind of a boogeyman argument.
Yeah, that's been a big topic today. I've seen on the local chats, people are like, has the price of gas dropped yet? Like, have you guys seen it change? And yeah, I mean, I trust Mark Carney. I think he's gonna do what he says he's gonna do, and I really appreciate his experience with this. A reporter asked him what can be done to make sure that they don't just like kind of slowly increase the price of gas again, that the companies don't do that.
Oh, like price gouging?
To engage in price gouging.
We have a clip of that, actually, of him responding to that.
Yeah, and I thought, like, his answer is just so solid there. Like, you can tell he is totally comfortable talking about that, and he knows what needs to be done to deal with that kind of a problem.
Yeah, he knows the policies and the government issues. Let's listen.
It's important that the Competition Bureau, the competition authorities are very alert to ensuring what you're suggesting might happen or could happen doesn't happen, first point. Second point, we all know through long history that the price of gasoline at the pump also fluctuates with the price of oil around the world. So there will be some fluctuations in and around there. The third point, and I'll hand back to you, Glenn, is that what we said from the start was we will cancel the consumer carbon tax, which I did on my first day as Prime Minister. We recognize that there is also a rebate that comes with that carbon tax that gets people ahead. We kept the rebate in place for this the rebate and checks will show up later this month for people, as usual, even though the carbon tax is not being collected. We kept it in place to help with the transition so that if we are returned to government, our tax cut will be in place, which then more than makes up for the rebate. I'll hand back.
All right. So the next thing that he kind of addressed, and I think was really important, are some of the cultural issues. And he mentioned, especially being very strong about French language and culture rights. And you were mentioning. I mean
that came up because a law in Quebec protecting French language was identified like yesterday or this morning, anyway, very recently, as a trade barrier by the United States. So like yet another way that they want to attack us. And so Carney was asked about that, and he said very strongly that French language and culture is never ever going to be on the table when he's negotiating with the United States.
Let's listen to what he said.
C'est jamais sur la table.
Juste pour clarifier, vous la protégez coûte que coûte, la loi 96. Vous la protégez.
Je vais protéger, oui. Ouais.
Mais comment est-ce que vous pouvez protéger une loi que vous avez l'intention de contester en Cour suprême?
Il y a plusieurs aspects. Okay. Il y a plusieurs aspects de la loi et il y a une question des droits. C'est une question pour des cours, pour des juges. Et c'est une autre question, c'est un autre aspect. C'est la question des droits fondamentaux ici au Canada. C'est une question pour défendre la Canada.
Contradiction pour vous? Prochaine question. Il n'y a pas de contradiction pour vous?
Il n'y a pas de contradiction. Non, pas de contradiction. C'est la chose fondamentale. Pour moi, la question qui pose maintenant, c'est la négociation avec les États-Unis afin de régler cette crise. Et je suis absolument clair. Jamais la langue française, jamais la culture canadienne, y compris la culture québécoise, et jamais la gestion de l'offre seront sur la table.
Another thing that Mark Carney was asked about had to do with reconciliation, and I thought he was really strong on that point too. I appreciated his words very much. Like he knew what he wanted to say on that topic, and you could really see his beliefs coming through.
Right, and it was very clear about how he had continued to meet with Indigenous leaders. He's meeting with the Premier here this afternoon as well when he goes.
Yeah.
And we can listen to a little bit of what he said.
In my opening comments as Prime Minister on the day that I was sworn in, acknowledged the fundamental role of First Nations, Inuit and Métis peoples to the founding of our country. Within 2.5 days, I was in Iqaluit with the Premier and meeting First Nations. The Inuit people and the Métis. Within the first week, I met with all the leaders of the Indigenous organizations. Within the first week, we announced as a government the doubling and the broadening of the Indigenous loan program. So the process of reconciliation, which is fundamental to our country, fundamentally part of our being and essential, must proceed. And we've taken those initial steps. This is a long process, but we've taken those initial steps to move forward. Thank you.
All right, so exciting day, and so any other news around the riding?
Yeah, I've been spending the last few days doing a lot of driving to coordinate with volunteers. It's a really large riding, so I'll meet up with volunteers in one part of the riding, and then we kind of go in different directions to deliver signs. I really like to deliver signs personally when I can and knock on somebody's door and thank them for their support. And I've been hearing a lot of positive things from voters. people are telling me they've been talking to their neighbors and talking to people in their communities, and they've said things to me like, I think you have a lot of support this time around, and that's really encouraging. One person said, it's really time for a change here. And I think, to me, that's kind of cool, that in Provencher, I am the change vote. We have had Ted Falk for a long time in this riding, and it's time for somebody different. I've also heard a lot of people saying to me they are not sure what Ted Falk actually does as an MP. And I think that would be really interesting to get into in a future podcast, to talk about what sorts of things does an MP do? What could they do? Because I kind of feel like they shouldn't be able to say, well, I've been in opposition, so therefore I can't really do much. I think there are things that even opposition MPs can do, and I think it would be interesting to talk about that another time.
Yeah, we could maybe look at his record a little bit.
Yeah.
And, ask the hard-hitting questions like what brand of gum he prefers. All right. Until next time.
See you on the campaign trail.